Okay, in number 7, what we need to do is take care of our minus parentheses negative 9. Whenever you have a minus and a negative, if you multiply a minus and a negative, it becomes a positive. So what we really have is 17 equals z plus 9. Now from here, I'm pretty sure you can solve it using the same steps as you learned in part 1. So pause the video, solve it, and check back on your answer. And that gives us an answer of z equals 8. Now on number 8, I'll make it a little bit bigger so we can look at it. We have a fraction. As a rule, our very first step that we do is we get rid of fractions. The way we get rid of fractions is we multiply every term in the equation by the denominator of the fraction we're getting rid of. So in this case, we want to get rid of the denominator of 4. So we're going to multiply each one of these terms. So the first term, the second term, and the third term times 4. So what that looks like is I'm going to just draw a little parentheses around each term and put a 4. And that's really effectively what we're doing. So when we multiply our numerator of 4 times our denominator of 4, those two cancel out. So that leaves me with just an f as my first term. Then I have minus 5 or negative 5 times 4 is negative 20 or minus 20 equals, and I have negative 9 times 4, so negative 36. As soon as we've gotten rid of that fraction, it really cleans it up. Pause your video, finish solving it, check your answer, then start the video back up and make sure that you agree. Okay, for number 9, we're going to follow the exact same process. We have a fraction. That 3 is being divided by the entire left-hand side of the equation. So we need to get rid of that 3 so we can do things with our equation. So we're just going to multiply the whole entire term times 3 on both sides. So our 3's cancel out on the left side, leaving me with q plus negative 5 equals, and then 8 times 3 on the other side is 24. Okay, now it looks very similar to number 7, so pause your video, make sure that you can get the correct answer, and then check back. Okay, before we move on to number 10, if you'll look down at number 16, the word application is right above it. If you will write Miss Shannon right beside the word application and show it to me when it's time to do classwork, you'll get something special. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 10. So number 10, what we have to do on number 10 is we have some like terms that we need to combine. So this is the step where we are simplifying on each side of the equation. So we have a 5x and a positive 3x that are like terms, so we have to combine them. So 5x plus 3x is 8x equals 28. And then we just go through the process of isolating. So go ahead and pause your video and check back and make sure you get the same solution. Okay, and we're going to leave it in fraction form. I just simplified to the smallest fraction. Okay, when we look at number 11, there's nothing special about it. It just has decimals. So go ahead and solve number 11 and then check back for your answer. Remember, you can always go back, plug negative 17 back into the original equation, and it should also make it true. Okay, looking at number 12. Number 12, we have some distribution to deal with. So we need to distribute our negative 1/2. That's the number attached to the parenthesis. We need to multiply it times x and multiply it times negative 6. Now our 5 has nothing to do with this distribution. So we're going to start by just bringing down our 5. And then we're going to say, okay, negative 1/2 times x is just negative 1/2 x. and then negative 1/2 times negative 6. Negative times negative becomes positive, and half of 6 is 3. So plus 3 equals 4. Now, if I look at what I've got, our second step says we need to simplify each side. So when I draw my line, I can look on my left side. I've got two terms that are alike that need combining. Combining means we're just adding a positive 5 and a positive 3 together. So positive 5 and positive 3 is 8 minus 1/2 x equals 4. And at this point, you can solve it from here, so pause your video and then check back. The other big thing to keep in mind on this one is when our fraction of negative 1/2, if you remember the equivalent poster, that's the same as 1 over negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out the whole negative 2 when I get rid of that denominator. Okay, looking at number 13. All that is a distribution problem. Number 14 is distribution and combining like terms, and 15 is distribution and combining like terms. All of those you should be capable of doing. Go ahead and pause your video, solve them, and check back for the answer. Okay, to double check your answers on each one of these, you can go back and plug them in and just verify that you got those 3 answers. Then on the application problem, go ahead and read it, see if you can figure it out, pause your video, and check back for your answer. Notice on the application problem that I went ahead when I was reading through the situation and found the per value, which is our slope. $4 per person is our rate of change, which is 4x. When it says they borrowed $400, that means they are in the hole. They're negative $400. And then their profit at the end is how much they bring in for the tickets minus how much they spent, which equals our $100.